Okay guys, so we're gonna have kind of update on what's going on with the koi pond. So stop. Yeah, you're silly. Okay, so right now the koi pond, there's kind of a halt in getting stuff and ordering stuff and doing all this stuff. So I kind of halted and took like a little time off right now so that I would get some relaxation time. I was too tired anyway from getting back into work and stuff and taking 2 weeks off. So anyway, we'll try to go gun-ho next week. But anyway, I thought maybe we would try to give you an update on what's going on. So my stone never came. The person never told me that they weren't going to be in the office this week on Saturday, because that's how I got a hold of her last time. So I kind of waited. Probably shouldn't have. I probably should have called her earlier. So my stuff didn't get sent out. So I got a credit back in my account, and right now I can't do anything until the credit goes through and the money goes back. But to come to find out, the stone was going to cost $161, but they gave me a huge discount. I don't have to pay for hardly anything, so it's going to end up being $100 for 50 stones, which is pretty good, or wall blocks or whatever. So we can finish that next week. No big deal. I'll get money on Monday and Tuesday and the rest of the week, so we're fine with that. The other thing is that I wanted to go over what I went ahead and got. So if you're going to do a koi pond, I did some research, and here's a couple things that you're going to need. So first off, if you want to get a koi pond and you don't want your pond to get gross, you're going to need to have some filters around your water that is going into the pump itself. So I got this box thing. So here's the box thing, and it has these little things. Now you can buy these all separate, and you know what, it'd probably be cheaper and also less expensive if you bought this pump and then got like a regular tub of like you know, the tubs that click together, you know, that you put stuff in and then you pop your own holes in there. You can also buy the little filter things too by themselves also. So this is the water pump that I had gotten, and I've gotten all these things on Amazon, and they're all linked together, and I'll put them in the description. So there is a couple different things associated with this. So you need all these filter things to get out the slime and the gunk so that your pump works correctly. Otherwise, your pump is going to have a hard time working correctly. So that is what this whole thing is right here, I believe. And this is also, I believe, 2 things too. You can also put it in this way. Okay. One area sucks all the stuff through, and it has this thing. Okay, you can take this off if you want to, which might make it easier for everything to fit in here. It honestly, this thing really doesn't do much, so that's one thing. The other thing is that it has a couple different like connectors. But the problem is that the connectors don't go through like this box thing. And there's a cord holder, just to let you know, because I was looking all over the place, but there is a cord holder right here for the actual cord itself, so it can come out. And this cord is really long, which is really nice, and I really like that. So there are a couple other things too if you're going to winterize and have your koi fish, but I think we're gonna wait and go over that next year, because right now, at the rate of things that are going right now, I am not going to get this koi pond all finished and fish put in and everything, and it has to sit for a certain amount of time. Because I am using cement. Cement can be toxic to fish, so you do want to spend a certain amount of time letting your koi pond circulate and everything like that before you start putting all these extras in to this stuff. Okay, so here is the box. It, you know, clumps down like this. Okay, and there's the box, and then you put the little these things in there too. Okay, and that helps with filtration. Pump. Now, if I were smarter and I listened to the people on the internet, which would probably be better, I should have probably thought about taking the box idea where you drill your own into like one of those Tupperware containers and use that, and it works just as fine. So what I am going to do is I got a size different with this connector. The problem is that I got my waterfall is big, you know, as far as the depth goes. So I am going to have to put a little bit of tubing here and a small end and stick it together. And then this end right here is going to be for the big part of the tubing that comes out of it and will connect to the waterfall, which on the waterfall, you do have to get this extra piece unless you get the whole pump and everything, which might be more, which may be better if you do look at Temu. But this, I don't even know if this all comes with it. On Temu, it probably does, with the water thing and whatever. Okay, and it has this big, huge, ginormous connector on it, which I was getting around to thinking about several things and how I'm going to do all this. So I decided that I was going to go with a pool hose instead of like a water hose or whatever. And I know maybe some of you pond people may not like this part, but it was cheaper than getting a pool or actual hose for the, like a 50 foot hose pump. Pool pump was way cheaper than getting a pond one. So there is that, because this probably is already costing a whole bunch. So then the other thing is that when you do have koi ponds, you do need to put this filter on the end of all of your hoses. So if you're going to use hose out of the actual faucet, you know, you're gonna have to put this on because it takes out all the chlorine and all the bad stuff. Okay, the reason why you want this is because the chlorine will kill the koi fish. So I have 2 of these, and they're in here. The other thing is that you will need some natural pond shield stuff, which is right here, to glaze after you do the cement inside the pond. So this thing was probably about $200. Now if you go to Temu and buy the whole kit minus this, because you will not get the pump, these things, you'll have to buy these on Amazon separately. It will probably even be less expensive and more worth it to just get the whole thing together. So I'm just letting you know as far as what I did versus what it probably should have been, because I think still this was about $90 something. So if I were you, I would buy the whole kit and not buy things individually. The other thing that I learned is that the koi pond has to sit for a certain amount of time before you can put the koi fish in to everything. So we still need to dig our hole, which is probably going to take a while because it is quite large. It's not quite 10 feet by 10 feet, but it is almost there. Maybe about like 8 feet by 8 feet, maybe. I don't know, maybe a little bit larger. So, and then we have to get 3 inches or 3 feet, at least 3 feet deep, but we may want to go more depending. And then we may have to plug up the sprinkler lines too. So that is a factor. And then, there are factors, of course, for winterizing your pond and also having your pond. So, if you're going to have koi, which I may decide not to do the koi after all this, we'll have to see what happens. It may not be until next year that I get my koi fish. Here's some factors that you want to think about. You do need to have your koi pond sitting for a certain amount of time. If you Google it, it says about like 3 weeks or so, but by the time I'm done with all this, it will be like I have to winterize it, you know, and were they fed enough? Were, you know, all these things. So that is a factor. The other thing is that you do have to make sure that when you are winterizing it, you have a bubbler and a heater for the winter. You do have to have a cover for the summer. So if you have any trees or anything like that, you have to have a net over the top of it. And then also I was told that koi ponds, for koi, they actually don't like the direct heat. So, it's probably a good idea to put some sort of a gazebo or some sort of patio cover or something over the top of it. So there will have to be a patio cover, and that's pretty expensive. But again, we might make one of those efforts of talking to Temu and seeing if maybe we can get one. So, so far so good. Hopefully the third one will be good too. Or we will have to build one. So that's another factor. Is it cheaper to build or to buy? Well, in this case, it might actually be cheaper to buy it. Because the posts are $40 some a piece. You need probably 4 of them, and then you have to buy all the wood and the metal and all that stuff. So we may want to price that out and see what happens and what happens best for you guys. I still am going to have a area that will have enough sunlight and everything for the plants. That's another thing that's important. There will still be roses and plants and all that stuff. It's just over the pond. It's hard to find also a gazebo that is small enough. I guess I'm going to go with a 10 by 10 if I do it. And I'm going to try to find the cheapest, but also quality as much as possible. There is a wood one that we might get, and we might just paint it in the end to match everything. And it is winterproof. That is the other thing, because I've already been looking at stuff. Building stuff may take longer. I would have to buy all the cement, the posts, and the roof parts of things. So that is a factor too. And that may not be that expensive. I don't know. We could price it out and find out. So anyway, these are all the supplies so far that is for the koi pump part, but not for the koi itself and the waterfall. This is for the waterfall and to get it started. Okay. This doesn't include the fish at all. The fish, depending on where you get them, can be $100 to $200 per fish if you get the big ones. Now, if you go and be smart about it and get the smaller ones, which are like the baby size ones that can get to big ones, then that's kind of a different situation. So we will probably explore that more next year when we start to think about all these other things that I need to do for the pond. I did a bunch of research for it. So I think it will be loads of fun though to have it, the fish. Now, it's pretty hot outside right now. I don't know what it is. It feels like at least 100 degrees. So I could definitely see where shade would be a factor. And then also leaf. If you put any leaf mold or leaf stuff in your pond, it will break down and it can actually start to decompose and cause some problems with your fish, and kill them. So you do have to have a net. So that will be something that we will get, and also an automatic feeder, because apparently you have to have an automatic feeder that has to feed like 3 to 4 times a day. And honestly, I work a full-time job, plus I do YouTube for fun, and that's not something that I can manage. I might be able to manage twice a day, which we might start off doing that because they are teeny. As it gets warmer and warmer, you end up having to feed them more. That's the other thing. So as things get hotter and 70 degrees or more, they move around more. And depending on how big your koi fish pond is, depends on how much energy they're going to expel also. So that's a big factor too. I guess you have to keep in all those things in mind. You do have to have certain mixtures of food, and I guess you can feed them stuff like watermelon and peas, stuff like that too. I guess they'll eat that. So but you also have to take in consideration of their food amounts. So I guess I'm gonna have to figure that one out too. I think there's a whole chart and everything that you can get online, but when I get closer, I will get all that stuff and post it all about what I found out. When it gets below 50 degrees, you do have to start not feeding them. I guess they can rot from the inside out. That's another thing. So there's all these like little tidbits that I did not know. And I think I feel like if I let the pond go for a whole entire year of getting whatever kind of toxic stuff out from whatever cement and whatever is in there, I think that's pretty good to get that out. So anyway, I thought I'd kind of give you an update on what's going on, and I'm sorry this ended up being a talking video, but all these things are very important if you're going to build a pond anyway. You're going to have to do algae control and stuff like that. So having that box around there and having all the foams and the filters and things like that is going to make a huge difference anyway. And your pump is going to be your waterfall instead of getting an actual like pump or bubbler and stuff like that, even though mine's going to have a pump and a bubbler eventually. If I decide to do the koi ponds, we'll have to see how that works. If I kill them, then we may have to reevaluate whether or not, because they are kind of expensive to keep and you don't want to cause any problems as far as like if you're going to have to keep getting them and all that stuff. So we'll see how this goes. This year, no fish though. Next year, yes, we'll put fish in, just because of how much time we need to let for the pump and the pond to circulate and all that stuff. So next week we will be having, hopefully next weekend, next week, or even like this coming weekend, I will have my stone. Hopefully I'll be able to pay for my stone coming in, and then we can resume digging, and I have a tool that I'm going to re-get out to help get through all of the dirt. The problem is that there's so many freaking what do I want to say? There's so many like roots and stuff, and there's a maple tree which may cause us an issue, but it might have to come out anyway. So there's like a lot of problems with that. So that's why I'm having such a problem with digging everything up. So we're going to use a jackhammer, I think, to help us get through this a little faster. We'll just have to go slow, and then also figure out which lines we're going to need to plug up. That is another factor. So I'll have to look online and see what kind of plugs we can get, and then we can move forward. Okay, so anyway, if you guys are interested in learning about this with me, or have any tidbits or anything that you want to share, please feel free to subscribe, put thumbs ups, and I don't really know, I'm just going off of the information that I read. And I guess we'll be doing this together as I learn how to build a pond or a koi pond. Either way, I want something tranquil. So we'll see you next time on Inspire the Simple Life.